This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you. We're live downtown Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is the spot. Coming up over the next 3 hours, a lot on the madness. Big NBA card tonight as well. Max Hoffmeyer in 30 minutes. Friend of the show, Shot Quality Bets. His best bets for the Sweet 16, Dallin Cuff. We'll talk to him as well from Turner Sports in about 90 minutes. We have Real or Fugazi today. We'll recap our bets from the weekend, tell you what we've added for tonight and beyond. Paulie, I will say it is it's a bizarre feeling walking through here. And as somebody who hung out around Las Vegas for a lot of the weekend, going all the way back to Thursday, and when you come to a spot like Circa, and you're talking about the Mega Bar or the Book, whatever, and it doesn't matter where you go, you're talking about 8-10 people deep. It's a madhouse. And then you come through here on Monday, you're like, oh, yeah, back to reality, I guess, huh? And you said it before the show. It's kind of you don't like that feeling. It's like week 18 of the NFL.
Yeah, it is.
You wait all year long for the first 4 days, and then just like that, gone. You're like, okay.
Yep. And it was, even though it was disappointing, because you just had all these favorites winning, and in the first round, it was a record for average margin of victory. The ratings were through the roof. So a lot of you have to credit, gambling and legalized sports betting, because you're sitting through a lot of blowouts. What happened? And at one stretch, favorites won 24 of 25 games. And you just see Friday night, come on, can we get a close game at all? No shot, other than the Miami game. And it was just these favorites covering 20, 25-point spreads with no problem with ease.
Is there a comparison, by the way, for anybody out there in the audience right now? On X, at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard. Email is ftm@vsin.com. Is there any other event in the world where favorites can go 16-0 on the same day, and yet it's a great day for sports books? Because this is the one event, at least for the first 2 days, where everybody, for many, many years now, they expect dogs to be barking. They want them to actually win outright, and that's how they bet it. I talked to a couple of different sports books, people in charge of them over the weekend, and they said Friday was all-time good.
How could that be?
16 favorites won outright, and yet one of the best days they can ever remember in March Madness history.
Yep, only the second time in the round of 64. Friday, the money line parlay paid 33-1. I was stunned when I heard the response. I did talk to one person who said it was, ugly, because it continued into Saturday too, with what happened in favorites covering. Average margin of victory, largest ever, 17.4. The last 2 years in the tourney, favorites of 8+ are 46-2. Since 1985, only 7 times a 13, 14, or 15 didn't win a game. It's happened back-to-back years.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
As I tweeted, NIL killed Cinderella.
So now, what are we doing with this? Because it's 2 years in a row now. We don't have to go back that long ago when San Diego State played in the national title game.
Right.
But I think that was a galaxy far, far away.
Yes. All we had was High Point. And I will argue High Point is a top 20 team. Because unless Acuff goes crazy, they win that game. Just with how big men play, how they have athletic size, and how they push the ball and shoot the three. That's a top 20 team.
High Point's very good.
Yes.
I'm super impressed by that team.
And it's also, you don't see a mid-major usually do that. If they win, they have the lead, they hang around, they maybe make a shot late. They're down 10, they come back. They're down 8, they come back. Mm-hmm. They beat Wisconsin. They're down big against Arkansas, they come back, take the lead. And then they made all the plays down the stretch. But other than that, we didn't get anything. And you sure as hell don't count Texas.
No.
They're not Cinderella. So we don't have any. VCU goes out, Utah State goes out. And that's how it's going to be with NIL. And this is the new era of college basketball.
Yeah, I couldn't wait yesterday when Kentucky was leading Iowa State the entire first half. Now, eventually fizzled out and they got blasted. But had Kentucky won the game, they'd be right there with Iowa and Texas as the longest siege, or the biggest number on the seed line to actually get it this far. And the jokes would have been nonstop about Kentucky being a mid-major as well, and how they have no money and yada, yada, yada. You can't say that about Texas.
No.
Come on, that's ridiculous. So,
although that was bad news for mid-majors, I'll explain later in the show.
Yeah, 39-9 straight up for favorites, 27-19-2 ATS. 39-9 straight up. What's that number as well? Favorites of 4+? Evan Abrams had that. It's like 84-10 or something like this.
Yeah, that's a big one, too. And it took forever for chaos, and then it happened yesterday. And a stunning stat, I retweeted Chris Felica, the Bear. Only one defending champ has made it past the Sweet 16 since 2007.
Now, come on.
Florida loses to Iowa? It was almost like it was meant to be, and it was karma. For what Golden said in the SEC tournament, he opens his mouth, right? Wow, we beat Kentucky 3 times. We never trailed. We should have beat them by 20. I'm disappointed. Karma. They lose to Vandy. So then you get knocked back down. Big dose of reality after the Vandy loss. And you really had to go out and humiliate Prairie View like that? You had to do that?
How about that?
2 years ago, they won 5 games. They were under 500 going into their conference tournament. You had to put 115 up on them. You had to do that. And guess what happened?
Yep.
You got out-coached. You lost to Iowa. Iowa didn't even play well. Sturts was 0 of 9 from 3.
Sure.
And missed 5 free throws. And you are down 13 in that game. And you come back to lead. He was terrible drawing up plays out of timeouts.
Yep.
And I don't know how you give up that shot that was so easy, the corner 3 for the game winner.
I mean, think about that. So after the game, admitted that they actually, first of all, why do you have a full court press on?
What are you doing?
Maybe some token pressure there at best.
It's terrible.
Full court press, and you wanted to foul up 2.
It was stealing.
Beautiful look. McCollum completely dominated Golden yesterday.
Yes.
It was a total mismatch the entire time. You're absolutely right. Their best player, a guy who plays every second pretty much of every game, was terrible from the floor, and yet you were the better team for 30-plus minutes out of that game. The defending champs who were on an absolute, they were a buzzsaw for 2 months down the stretch.
Right.
That was disgraceful.
Where's the halftime dominance? Where was that?
Yeah, right.
You know, you cut it, you make it, you're right in the game at halftime, and you lose to an average Iowa team that came in limping in too. And almost as bad as Texas, how bad Iowa was down the stretch.
3-point lead with the ball under 2 minutes to go in the game. That's Florida yesterday.
Oh.
And a full court press up by 2. Baffling the entire time.
Right.
This is, I was coach, is awesome. Did this at Drake last year. Mm-hmm. Ben McCollum on how tough his team is after the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a tough dude, like, this is a good spot for you. If you're soft and you like yourself way too much, it's probably not the spot for you. We just try to recruit tough dudes that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and hopefully people see that.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I love. Remember they laughed at him at Drake.
Oh yeah.
Like what are you doing? You're bringing Division II players here? What's wrong? No problem. I'll win.
Sure.
I'll win big. I'll get it done. And he did. And he goes right to Iowa Sweet 16. No problem.
He's got a little Signetti in him.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good one. Yep. But it's also some coaches lose their minds. And you also saw it with Self. How they butchered you're going to foul 4 or 5 times, but there's still all that time left on the clock. On the clock. What are you doing?
Yeah.
They're not supposed to have any time left how you play it.
Overall, I get the philosophy, right?
Yes.
It's actually kind of a beautiful game plan, but you can't allow that much time to remain.
No, it was Tyus Edney Part 2.
Yeah.
The 31-year anniversary was March 19th. You put it on YouTube, kids, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But that is too easy. You can't give it up. But this is why we love sports. Darling, who hadn't made a shot and was 0 of his last 16 from 3, tells Pitino, run power. Run a play for me. And Pitino's walking away like, what? This kid hasn't made a shot, and he wants me to run a play for him? And it works. And he calls them bells because he has the onions, well, shall we say, of the size of church bells, Pitino said.
Oh.
And that's how we gave him the nickname.
Okay.
But the guy's not afraid. He's ready to go. And that's, hey, I haven't made a shot, so what? I'm going to run the play for me. And you get the buzzer beater and to put it in. And for the first time since 99, they're going to the Sweet 16.
This show is brought to you by Profit X. And right now you can win a free trip worth up to $10,000 during March Madness with King of March. Use the code VSiNMM. Now, St. John's not covering that game is another story. And
another meltdown.
How many times did that happen so far this weekend?
Well, condolences to you on UCLA.
Here's why that one hurt more than anything else.
Missed free throws, turnover. No one was even near Clark, and he just loses the ball.
Whammo, right off the knee, out of bounds. Yeah. Somehow they completely melt.
Yes.
The killer on that is not only did I have them in pocket with an actual wager, I had 3 of my final 4 entries in the last man standing contest on UCLA. You know how much that hurt? To start the day with Santa Clara not covering an overtime against Kentucky after Elway hits the 35, 40-footer at the gun to force OT, and then the Friday night UCLA disaster. to bookend that day, that hurt. I'm not going to lie. That took me until Sunday to get over it. And you're right on the Florida thing, because that cost me also the largest margin of victory. They went on a 99-40 run. You're up by 50, guys, the entire time.
Yeah.
You can take the foot off the gas.
Good. They got some humble pie.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It was a wild weekend. And also, while that was going on, I don't know what Kansas was doing against Cal Baptist.
That's another game.
They're up 23. Baptist could cut it to 4.
Yeah. Up 23 at halftime, right? Got it to 26.
Yeah. And then they just played run clock and let Peterson stand in the corner. So then, they take the 26-point lead that goes down to 5 or 6, and Baptist has the ball. And then here, they're down big against St. John's, and they almost win the game.
Mm-hmm.
How things change.
Now, here's the deal, right? Because of the lack of upsets yet again this year early on, it should create, in theory, phenomenal games in the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and then the Final Four, right? That's the price that we have to pay for the lack of dogs actually winning or barking in the first round.
That's what you hope. That should happen.
It's a conundrum because a lot of us want the upsets, but we don't want too many of them. Tricky.
But the Florida loss really opens the door now to bust that bracket, and the sum of all seeds is now in jeopardy.
Another one, yeah.
That opens the door, the 9.5 or the 8.5, whatever you decided to bet.
Although
what number you grabbed.
We'll get into the numbers coming up here in a minute, but Houston gets home games now?
Houston plays in Houston. Yes.
Pretty good.
What an advantage.
All right, so all that brings us to this. We have a stinky line in the Sweet 16, in my opinion. They are begging us to bet on this team. Begging us. Find out which game that is coming up next.
Before you bet a single pitch this season, go to VSiN.com/MLB for complete betting previews of all 30 teams, all in one place. VSiN managing editor Adam Burke breaks down the numbers, advanced metrics, projections, and the angles the market might miss. Former big leaguer Jensen Lewis adds the player's perspective, clubhouse chemistry, adjustments, and what really translates over 162 games. Everything you need before opening day. Go to VSiN.com/MLB and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM Channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Responsible sports betting starts with a game plan. That means stick to a budget. Keep it social by playing with friends. Learn the game and know the odds. Play with trusted legal operators. And if you need help, reach out. If you're getting in on the action, visit haveagameplan.org to learn more.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Putting you on the spot right now, Paulie. What's more likely to happen with the madness moving forward? Two different things here. One, it becomes chalk heavy. Cinderella's dead. Or Gonzaga, the run that they had as a program is over with. He had his chance. He had his window. A couple of years in a row to win it. Couldn't get it done. That's it.
Yeah. I think chalk madness will continue. And it was just alarming on Selection Sunday when you saw how big these point spreads were.
That's true.
And then you got the 16-0 on a Friday and the 25-1 run for favorites that ran into Saturday.
And how about some of those line movements with the big spreads got there?
I know.
That's telling right there, man.
Yeah, Illinois, nonstop.
Yep.
One-way action, pounded pen. Now does it continue? Like Max Hoffmeyer told us last week, the last 2 years, the Sweet 16 and on, favorites of 6+ are 51-6 straight up. But we're not getting that heavy with some of these spreads, but let's see what it looks like now moving forward and if it continues.
So Duke has defeated St. John's every year that they've won the national title. Did you realize that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Every time they've won one, they defeated St. John's somehow during the regular season or in the tournament.
This is great. What a hot ticket that is.
Oh, that's the place to be.
Oh, my God. Good luck getting a ticket in D.C. for UConn, Michigan State, St. John's, and Duke.
Can I just say, though, that St. John's +7 is the stinkiest number of the whole tournament?
Yes.
Books are begging us to bet St. John's.
Love this team.
I can't get, why? Why is it 7? Hold on. Why did it open 6.5 and go to 7? Remember, Richie Baccelleri with us on Friday, who's been in this for a long time. We were throwing numbers at him. I'm like, what is this number? Maybe 5? He goes, 3.5?
I know. And then they're losing to TCU with 14 minutes left, and they rally and blow them out. But the way they're playing, and if St. John's is knocking down shots, especially threes, I will say good luck. And I also like that they get the win, but they blew the 13-point lead. So Pitino can let them have it. I would rather this was a short turnaround. That would really favor Pitino and St. John's. Is it like a Thursday, Saturday, a Friday, Sunday? But still, okay, I got more time to prep if I'm Pitino, and St. John's can win this game.
Well, how much of that game yesterday will Shire and company copy from what Bill Self did? They basically said, hey, guys, we're going to leave everybody open from downtown. Go ahead, shoot.
Okay. Well,
and it was a great game plan. They stuck to it, and St. John's took a zillion threes yesterday, and they were bad shooting.
Well, I can tell you this. It's the old joke where every time you watch Duke play, they're in the double bonus 5 minutes into the second half.
I know. Don't get me started.
I don't think that's going to go on against Pitino, who's one of the best ever, and he'll work the officials hard. So I don't think it's going to be that friendly of a whistle for Duke in this one. And the comeback is I can also look at what Siena did and how Siena had them down 13 points in that first game. So with that, the Florida State performance, they weren't bad against Clemson. I think definitely St. John's can do this.
Against TCU, I mean, they were also like extremely sloppy for a lot of that game until they turned it on and they played a nice stretch of basketball for a good 10 minutes or so, and they eventually pulled away, and really it was like a 23-point margin of victory, so it looked great at the end. But they did not. They looked far from great again, and if Siena had one more guy that could have played like 15, 18 minutes, I think they win that game against Duke. Or if they hit maybe a couple of other shots late, they might win that game, and a one goes down against a 16. I can't decide if St. John's +7 is stinkier or the Lakers game tonight.
Yes.
Which one's stinkier, the stinkiest here?
Yeah. Lakers were underdogs. How can that be without Cunningham? And this great run that they're on, and they might go undefeated on a road trip.
Yeah, make that make sense. Baffled here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll talk more about the NBA coming up a little bit later on. I know that you're super hot and heavy on this team right now, and Luke has been playing out of his mind, which is a lot of fun to watch, but both numbers to me are just wacky. Anything else catch your eye right away? What do you think? Just Texas live again?
Not so much Texas. I think it's Michigan State. Do some digging and just look at Michigan State's resume. They had a good year, strong wins, and they they got blown out against Wisconsin. That's it. But they don't have a bad loss. So they were great offensively in the first two wins. And with Izzo, and I know there was a controversy coaching them hard, all that stuff. UConn was great in the second half, but they got a lot of help from UCLA, who continued to be sloppy. And they knocked down a ton of shots down the stretch and great looks, but from deep distance, I think this Michigan State team can go on a deep run. And they have a hell of a resume, and looking at it, it's like, you know what? They don't have bad losses. Everyone that beat them's good. And they were great. If they shoot like that, they can go to the Final Four.
Oh, yeah. I think the winner of this game is going to give the other, well, it depends on who it is, but this whole regional is as good as it gets, man.
Well, what UConn team do I get? That's the thing. Furman had them. Furman is in that game.
I know.
And they're the sixth smallest team in the tournament. And they were a 6th seed, coming in their conference tournament. They were a Cinderella. Or, the team that lost to Marquette, the team that couldn't compete twice against St. John's.
Sure.
But then there's a team that ran them out.
I know. Does UConn beat UCLA if Bilodeau plays for the Bruins?
That's a good point, too, right?
I don't know.
Just terrible luck for UCLA, always with the injury.
Yeah, by the way, I'm looking at the picks page right now, the odds page, VSiN.com, and they have the DK openers, right? Michigan State opened 1.5 at DraftKings. Opened 1.5. All right, this got to 2.5 earlier today. The other way. UConn completely flipped.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So too much there in your opinion.
Yep. Well, how about the two games with the big point spreads? Number one, Alabama can't shoot like that again. You would agree?
Oh, Michigan's probably going to run them out.
You think so?
I think Michigan might score 100 points in this game.
Yes. Alabama doesn't defend, and it was an excellent win, but they're not going to shoot like that again. And
side note, Texas Tech was horrendous last night.
They were. And it's your team, but defense is optional with Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
And Arizona national travel, Wildcat national travel to San Jose. And they got a little bit of a scare. They're up 14 against Utah State. They cut it to 4. But they're so good offensively, and you just saw what High Point did. Again, if A-Cuff doesn't go off, they lose that game. So you would think also Arizona should score 100 points in that game.
I think the over in that game is going to be on the account.
Yeah. Yes. And the other one, which the fishy line looks too easy, is I don't think anybody can beat Houston if they're playing like that offensively.
Well, they look amazing.
And there was a great tweet. It's like when you watch Houston play, it looks like there's 7 guys on defense out there.
I know.
It's chaotic. It's ridiculous, the length and the athleticism and how they guard you and the physicality.
Well, they have to.
And now this team can score lights out.
Sure they can.
And I thought Texas A&M had a shot. Not even close.
No, it was never a ball game,
What
really.
a clinic. What a clinic. And now they get to play in their backyard.
So Illinois is dynamite offensively. I'm the wrong guy to ask about Illinois games. I think I've gotten their games wrong every time I've bet on them or against them the entire year. But you have to love the way that this is opened up right now for Houston, right? Playing at home now.
Yep.
And they'll get both games there if they beat Illinois. And now there's no Florida up top. I will say, though, don't be surprised if the Nebraska faithful shows up big time again for this team.
I don't know if we'll ever see that again, that atmosphere.
That game against Vandy?
Oh, my God.
It's one of the best tournament atmospheres on TV that you can get.
No doubt. And it's a top 3 moment if the shot goes in. But Nebraska getting a home game, and they hadn't won a game in a tournament ever, and now they go to the Sweet 16, and the back and forth, and how they rally to win.
Yep.
And then Vandy, they go in and out. It was just that you're not going to see that. It's just you don't get a home game like that and a fan base to travel like that.
There was probably a good, 8, 10, 12-minute stretch in the second half where both teams, because the shot making was not great, and then they couldn't miss. And then the Nebraska crowd was so loud. Mm-hmm. But also, I will say, like, anytime Vandy did anything well, it was also, like, registering on the old decibel level, I think. Super high, like jet engine high. But then how does that shot not go? How does that shot miss and always shot goes in?
Good point.
That thing was 3/4 of the way down.
I know, and it wasn't right, too. The gods that should have reversed it because Sendek calls timeout. He's just right there with the ref. You know this. This is what happens. We watch a ton of college basketball. That always happens. I want to set the defense. I'm going to call the timeout. And they don't look at him and acknowledge it.
Now, I also wonder, McCollum's obviously very good. But what is that like for the Hawkeyes now? They get days off here, obviously, to prep for Nebraska. Both teams out of the Big Ten, but you just shocked the world by knocking off the defending champs?
Yeah.
That's kind of tough to...
well, I know. It's a pick-em game, but that's... history says they lose. I know where you're coming from. Yes. Yeah. They go back to campus and they're treated like heroes, and now you got to get ready for your next game.
Nebraska has more shooters, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're a good team, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, by the way, here's one thing, too. What do you think Nebraska, some of those tickets that might be out there from, let's say, November or December to make the Final Four we're at? Now they're 2 games away.
Good call.
Absolutely gigantic numbers.
Yes.
Had to be triple digits on them just to make the Final Four.
Good one. Yep.
So I like the Arizona-Arkansas game to go over. And I have not bet St. John's. I don't think I'm going to bet St. John's because it just seems like it's too obvious of a play.
I got you. Follow the Money brought to you by Profit X. Free trips worth up to $10,000. That's what Profit X is putting on the line for the King of March. Win 10 pregame spreads or totals. Hit your goal and you're entered. No sign-up. No entry fee. Hit 1,000 in volume. 10K in volume for the 10K trip. Flights, hotels, wherever you want to go. Download Profit X today. Code VSiNMM.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Best bets time right now, Sweet 16. We head out to the Progressive guest line. Max Hoffmeyer joins the program now. Shot Quality Bets at Hoffy8121 on X. Hey, Max, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Oh, doing great. It was a great first week of the tournament. So hopefully more of that for the Sweet 16 here. Super excited for these games.
Oh, no doubt. That's, again, when you don't get a lot of upsets early, then it should pay off in terms of great games and matchups moving forward, like in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. And so let's begin with Illinois and Houston. We were just talking about this before you popped on, and how it potentially opened up here for Houston now that they're playing at home, essentially, and then there's no floor at the top of the bracket. But what do you make of the point spread here with this being a pseudo home game for the Cougars?
Yeah, so this line's obviously 3.5 here, a little inflated because it is not a true neutral. It isn't Houston, so an advantage there. But I do think Illinois will have an answer for a lot of the Houston threats that they throw at teams. I mean, Houston in their last 4 losses, it's been because they haven't dominated the turnover and offensive rebound differential like they do against most teams, like including Texas A&M, who they just played. They grabbed 49% of offensive rebounds. They're not going to do that here. Illinois, they're 9th in offensive turnover rate. They take care of the ball, and they're 32nd in defensive rebound rate. And, like I said, that's a big staple of Sampson teams, the ones that dominate you. They force turnovers, they grab offensive rebounds. But Illinois should have an answer there. And, another part of the Kelvin Sampson defense is they're great at blitzing you and trapping you, throwing 2 guys at you. And then when they have those giant guys trapping you, they'll also take away the nearest teammates that they can pass it to. The only guy they'll leave open is the guy across the court, which normally, a guy, you can't see him. You can't make that pass. Well, Illinois, they're huge. They're first in average height and roster size. They don't like double teaming, trapping them. They will still have the vision to see those swing passes, and that's how you beat this Houston defense. So look for, those big 6-7 footers, and everyone on the floor can shoot. Look for them to make those cross-court passes to threes when they do send those blitzes. So I just think the way that Houston and Sampson teams, the way they normally suffocate you and beat you, I think Illinois has answers here for that. And that's why before the tournament tipped off, I put Illinois in my championship. I've got them and Michigan playing each other in an all Big Ten tournament.
Oh, that'd be incredible. Interesting. We were talking before you came on. Number one, I think High Point wins the game if the big guy doesn't get in foul trouble early, and if Acuff isn't Superman. Defense is optional with Arkansas. Do you see a track meet in Arizona scoring 100 on them?
Absolutely. High total here, but I think we get fireworks. I played the over. Arkansas's defense, specifically the interior, is so vulnerable. They're 275th in 2-point defense, and that's all Arizona wants to do. Arizona 363rd in 3-point frequency. So even though Arizona doesn't want to shoot the 3, they've been so good this year attacking inside the arc on good defenses. So, I can only imagine what they're going to do against someone like Arkansas that can't defend the interior. And, when Arkansas has the ball, they shouldn't have too many problems scoring here. Arizona's defense, they're 18th in rim frequency allowed. They force you into playing outside of the paint, which is a great strategy against most teams. But, Arkansas has 2 of the best shot-making guards in the game. Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, they're 98th and 95th percentile in shot-making per our shot quality numbers. So I don't think Arkansas has any problem settling for those jump shots and putting up points. And like I said, I think Arizona absolutely shreds them in the interior. So I took the over here in this one.
Okay. How about another play for Thursday? And that is Braden Smith for Purdue. The point guard obviously did not have a great game at all yesterday. Purdue won despite that. You think he's going to bounce back here against Texas in a big way?
Yeah, love this matchup here for Purdue, specifically Braden Smith. Like you said, off his worst game of the season, 8 turnovers versus Miami. They really got ball pressure on him, but that is not Texas defense. They don't pressure you at all. They're 352nd in turnovers forced, so they're not going to really pose a threat here to Braden Smith. I think he should go back to facilitating. I mean, he's the Division I leader in assists, so I could not think of a better matchup here for him to bounce back. I think it's going to be a him and TKR pick and roll masterclass here. So Texas does drop coverage, so I think we get a lot of pick and roll, Braden Smith to TKR, and then he does that little mid-range float that he loves. And if you want a similar comp, I mean, let's look at the best guard that Texas defense has faced in Darius Acuff. Acuff had 13 assists in that game. Now, the caveat is they played more possessions, obviously. A little more pace there, but I still think Braden Smith bounces back here and can get 10 dimes.
All right. So we can't wait for St. John's and Duke. We think it's a fishy line. I'm shocked it's the early game Friday, but you think St. John's has problems scoring. How about the under?
Yep, like the under here. It's actually funny that St. John's is playing playing Duke right after Kansas, because Kansas, they forced St. John's into taking 35 three-pointers, which is not what they want to do at all. Now, they did shoot 31%, and honestly, it could have been way worse because Bryce Hopkins was 6 of 9 from deep, and, he's not a great shooter. Duke's going to do the same thing. They're 337th in three-point frequency allowed. They're going to give up a bunch of threes because they're going to take away the rim, and, that's what St. John's wants to do. St. John's, they want to attack the rim. They want to get out in transition, but Duke, they take both of that away here. The difference here, though, unlike the Kansas game, I just don't see St. John's getting a lot of offensive rebounds. Duke 9th in the country in defensive rebound rate. So unlike that last game, I don't think they get those extra chances. And then when Duke has the ball, I think St. John's full court pressure can really get to them here. This was a game that you would like to have Caleb Foster back because Caden Boozer does have a higher turnover rate. So I could see that ball pressure getting to them. So yeah, I really like the defensive matchups here. So I took the under.
Okay. How about UConn and Michigan State? Now, UConn and UCLA, that was trending mid-140s last night, but that actually stayed under the closing total and did open up 138.5 here in their Sweet 16 game, down to 136.5, or looks like there's 137 on the board as well.
Yeah, I think that initial move off the opener is correct. I like the under here. Michigan State, they're 10th in transition frequency, but UConn, they're going to take that away. They're going to force this one in the half court, which is good for the under. Michigan State, they love creating for their teammates. They're second in the nation in assists per field goal made. The problem is UConn's going to guard you straight up one-on-one. They're not going to let you get those assists. They're going to make you create for yourself and win an isolation ball, and that's not Sparty's strong suit. And even if they throw it into the post to maybe let their bigs go one-on-one, Terrace Reed, one of the best rim protectors in the game. And he should stay out of foul trouble here because Michigan State, kind of like UCLA, they're not great at getting to the line. They settle for a lot of mid-range frequency as well. So I think he stays in there. And then when UConn has the ball, Michigan State, they deny the rim, 7th in rim frequency allowed, force you into a bunch of threes, 346 and three-point frequency allowed. That's not UConn's strength, especially now that Solo Ball has been struggling a bunch. They're not a great three-point shooting team, very average. So I like both defensive matchups here. So went ahead and took the under in this one.
All right. 2 minutes, sir. One more. Tennessee, Iowa State under?
Yeah, going with another under. I think this line's assuming Jefferson's going to be back. And I mean, I'm not totally positive that happens. And they do play slower without him. Lipsy and Momcilovic, they're not great at creating for themselves. So tough defensive matchup here. And we kind of saw that in the first half against Kentucky. I think we see it both halves here for Tennessee. Iowa State, they should be able to defend Lipsy, or Tennessee should be able to take away Lipsy as well. Like I said, not a great defender. Now with Tennessee as the ball, Jacoby Gillespie's really their only offense. And Taven Lipsy, great defender. They're going to send two guys. Nate Ament just has not been enough of a threat to be the second option in this offense this year in high caliber matchups like that. So even if Jefferson plays, I do like the under here.
Very good. You can follow Max on X. He is at Hoffy8121. Does a great job with shot quality bets. Had a hell of a first 4 days of the tournament. Great analysis as always, Max. Thanks for the time, and go get him in the Sweet 16.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Follow the Money brought to you by ProfitX. March Madness can take you anywhere in the world. The King of March is their ProfitX tournament contest where free trips are worth up to $10,000 and up for grabs. Win 10 pregame spreads or totals across the 67 tourney games and hit your volume goal to get entered. Flights and hotels, wherever you want to go, covered. Keep winning in sets of 10 and keep earning entries. Download ProfitX now. Use code VSiNMM and become the king of March.
There's a women's game right now in double overtime, and 2-seeded Iowa is trailing 10th seeded Virginia now 80-73 with 50 seconds to go. It is a huge slate of games, by the way, today in women's college basketball. And I know Tyler Shoemaker shares his numbers and thoughts and opinions on VSiN.com. For all tickets cash the same, man.
Yeah.
And there's a busy slate today. Good job scheduling today by the women. I like that, to play right on the heels. Like, where's that basketball? I need more games. Well, women, and you can bet on them. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Win Some, Lose Some is up next.
It's a banger.
Oh, yes, it is. And this has now happened 7 times since 1985 and back-to-back years. Paulie has the details next.
VSiN's player prop projection tool is now available for the NBA. Get projections for points, assists, rebounds, and more, powered by Opta AI. On VSiN.com/NBA props, we line up our projections against the latest DraftKings odds, so you can quickly spot mismatches and find value before the market adjusts. The NBA player prop projections tool is available exclusively to VSiN Pro subscribers. Check it out now at VSiN.com/NBA props and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
There is no other college basketball betting analyst quite like it. His passion is unparalleled. He handicaps every game, every day, all season long. Sleep is not an option for him. He stays fresh by running 12 miles a day, every day, while doing his podcast and answering your tweets. He is Greg Hoops Peterson.
Tame the madness of March by catching Greg Peterson on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Okay, it was chalk madness, but best ratings since 2011 to start, and the first round had highest ratings going back in quite some time. Friday, favorites go 16-0 straight up. Moneyline parlay 33-1. Second time in the round of 64 that's happened. Average margin of victory largest ever, 17.4. 22 favorites won in a row, 24 of 25. Last 2 years, favorites of 8+ are 46-2. 9 seeds went 4-0 for the sixth time. Since 1985, only 7 times, as the 13, 14, or 15, they didn't win a game. It's happened back-to-back years.
Make it back-to-back-to-back next year. I don't even need to know the teams.
That was telling that the Westgate, who offered that every year, didn't even put the prop up. Will what was it? Will a 14, 15, or 16 win a game?
Yeah.
They didn't even offer it. How about Reed?
That's been up every year for
multiple spots, I know.
15 years?
Yeah.
20 years?
Yeah. And the no was usually plus money.
Yep.
Reed, UConn, Friday. Third player in the last 50 years with a 30-20 game. Yesterday, Iowa, plus 475 to beat Florida. Plus 650 to make the Sweet 16 at Circa. St. John's, first Sweet 16 since 99. And the buzzer beater prop cashes again. I forgot Queen did it last year for NC State.
Oh, that's right. For Maryland.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
A double-digit seed has made the Sweet 16 every year since 2008. And, of course, it was Texas, of all teams. But they get it done. 2 seeds all made the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in the last 29 years. A 12 seed won a game. A 13 did not win a game. And there are 6 Big Ten teams left. Scary. Premier League, Everton plus 220. Brighton plus 220. Yesterday, the Timberwolves money line plus 450. Surprised the Celtics. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on and tweet at us. And also email ftm@vsin.com. We are getting the hat. It's here, and it's supposedly huge in Los Angeles. Here's one picture, what it looks like with the pastrami. Choke a hippo. The portions are supposed to be ridiculous. And everyone sent pictures in as well with the person who said, hey, the hat's finally coming.
It looks terrific.
To Las Vegas. Look at that
Big sandwich guy. I'm absolutely in.
Yes.
Now, you need a bigger sandwich or to choke a hippo. They're throwing watermelons in them.
Crush
and they're
them.
like, yeah, exactly right. Like it's like an ice cube.
I love this. Every time I come home with the groceries, my dog acts like he works for TSA. Look at him bully. Look at him coming in. What do we got here? Huh? Like the one we showed, the guy just goes right in and takes his snacks.
Sure.
He's sniffing around. What do we got? What'd you bring? Going bag to bag to bag. Every time he comes home, he wants to know what's going on.
Oh, that's what Frankie does to us as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Every single bag.
I love seeing stuff like that. That's great. And I think you sent this in. A sunset thunderstorm in South Dakota. It's like Stranger Things.
Now, I thought this was AI, but I went down like the messages and I did a little digging on it. It evidently appears as if this video is real. I have never witnessed this in my life. And I grew up in the Midwest where you got storms all the time. Look at that thing.
Wow.
Would you sit out there and take photos? I don't know what I would do, to be honest.
Go in your pants, dive in and swim.
How is that even?
I got to take pictures. Yeah, I'd have to. How many times are you going to see that?
Never.
That's Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's exactly what that is. It's bizarre. Lose some. Again, only one defending champ has made it past the Sweet 16 since 2007. Amazing but true. Golden in Florida. Go out. Karma got him. Bad for the books. Miami, Missouri under. 150 to 144. Fell 146. Michigan State, 2.5 up to 5.5. TCU, Duke under, 143.5 to 139.5. Friday, Florida, Prairie View over, 149.5 to 154.5. Gonzaga, Texas under, 151 to 146.5. Bad beats. Kansas against Cal Baptist, led by 23 in the second half. Almost lost the game. Got down to 6. UCLA, 5.5 against Central Florida. What a mess. Turnovers, missing free throws. Should have won by double digits. How they didn't cover. St. John's yesterday, lane 3.5, led by 13 with 7 minutes left and they were playing ferocious defense. And then Kansas comes all the way back and almost wins the damn game. Founded in 2011, Sharp Plays just completed another dominant run, including a 2025 campaign that saw bankrolls double. 15 straight years of winning, all documented. Records and logs posted publicly, sharpplays.com. Full performance auditing, something that separates the Sharp Plays from most of the betting industry. And when the Sharp Plays moves, book takes notice. Advanced AI tools, trusted insider intelligence, identifying price value before the numbers shift. Respected, watched, and feared. Start winning with them. And the Mr. Poison tweets daily, sharpplays.com.
So this is another stat here. This was after Iowa State won and covered against Kentucky yesterday. And that's with a 4+ point favorite in those games. And after that game, I'm doing it right now. Florida actually lost. Arizona did win and cover. Connecticut won and covered. So it went 2-1 after the this game was in. So you can make it now 4+ point favorites are 75-11 straight up, and 52-34 ATS since the start of last year. The start of last year, 4+ point favorites.
Come on.
The top 4 seeds facing 5 seed or worse, 57-5 straight up, 39-23 ATS. That's from Evan Abrams.
The level of concern is sky high.
Well,
Cinderella's in big trouble.
So what does that tell you about the ratings then?
I mean, I wrote... I know,
that's
but
how popular sports betting is, right?
I mean, I wrote it down. This is the first round. St. John's, Purdue, Alabama, Michigan State, Nebraska, Illinois, Arkansas, Tennessee, Iowa State. These games weren't even close.
Oh, there were so many I mean, immediately the games were over with.
And there's 20-point spreads.
Yes.
It didn't matter.
Well, so what happens then moving forward if this is like... And plenty of people are saying the same thing. Kelly and Stewart, who came onto this last week.
Yeah.
The March Madness that we grew to love is dead.
Well, I'm surprised so many people just didn't do money line parlays.
You
had one upset. So you got High Point, which happened early. But if you just did the money line parlays with the big guys, you never had to sweat it.
Yeah, High Point was the second or third game of Thursday.
Yeah.
And then...
Right when we came on, they won.
After that.
They had just won when we hit the air Thursday. And it was Bupkis after that. And now the question is, does it continue? Well, we don't have that many games. The Purdue game, Arizona, and Michigan. The last 2 years, Sweet 16 and on, favorites of 6+ or 51-6 straight up.
Give me the big favorite that's in trouble then. Thursday or Friday night. I'll throw Duke in there. They're 7.
That's okay. I would agree.
They're the one team that might be in trouble?
Yes. I think they're the one.
Is Arizona at all in trouble? Acuff is better than I thought. And I could not have been higher on the kid for the last 2 months on this show.
Right. But that goes back to all this ridiculous tanking that's going on in the NBA. You're still going to get a great player at 5 or 6.
Absolutely you are.
So it's like all this tank, you're still going to get a great player. So what does, the number one pick could be worth $100 million, whatever. I'll take all the fines. Here's a blank check. Whatever. Yeah. You're going to get a great player.
A phenomenal player.
Peterson, Acuff.
A franchise player.
Whatever. Yes.
The Flemings kid from Houston, I think, could be dynamite in the NBA pretty much right away.
I can't.
Boozer.
To go back to your question, though, Michigan is awesome. What they did in the second half against St. Louis, now I was concerned defensively what happened against Howard, but Michigan is just a freight train with their offense. There's so many guys that can score, and they got the big guy too.
This is one of my biggest reactions to the seeding and the brackets. Michigan's path was a joke.
Does the Big Ten end the drought then? They got 6 left.
6 left.
6 of the 16.
I mean, and you're going to get at least one in the Elite 8, one more because they play each other.
Right.
Nebraska and Iowa plays each other.
That'll be a fantastic atmosphere too.
Do we want this? I mean, even though the viewership is up, right?
No.
Highest in a long time. Do we want chalk?
No, you can't have this.
I think it takes the luster is gone from the tournament a little bit here. The first day, the first couple of days, it has to be.
You had great games though, but they're like the 7, 10, 8, 9, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You had those great games. But think about what if High Point didn't win? But you also have to get competitive games, and you saw the record.
Mm-hmm.
On average 17.4.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean,
and the Utah State game was fun, but they ended up winning by 10.
Sure, if all the favorites, the big favorites, are getting it done and advancing, that's one thing. But then blowouts, like one right after another, where not only did the point spreads open up the highest they had been in 40 years, but they also moved in their direction, and they got there. A lot of them did. And that just tells you that in the first round anyway, these other teams are going to have... What's going to change, by the way? What's going to change to help out the little guy? Nothing. How does it get better for the little guy moving forward? They're not going to have the money to compete. Nobody's going to transfer to go play for them.
This Texas thing really hurts, too. I'll elaborate coming up. That also doesn't help matters.
Also, Mark Pope is on the clock.
No.
And this will not happen for Duke against Rick Pitino. Real or Fugazi? Next.